Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. Welcome to Chapter 1, Section 2 of our biology topics. Today's topic is going to be the nature of science. As usual, you can pause this video whenever you need to stop and look at the slides and process it. Or you can watch it all the way through. You can do this at your own pace, whatever works best for you. Today's main idea here, this topic I want you to think about for just a second, says science is a process based on inquiry that develops explanations. I want you to take a second, take a minute, and think about a time when you had to process something to try to figure it out. Whether it was in school, out of school, whatever. I want you to pause this video and take a whole minute and think about when was the time I had to process something, think about it, question it, until I figured out what was going on. So pause your video and think about it for 1 minute. Okay, hopefully you've thought about that, put some time into that. But let's move on here. Today's essential questions, or our main ideas that I want you to think about, are: what are the characteristics of scientific inquiry? What are the differences between science and pseudoscience? And what is scientific literacy and why is it important? If you can answer those three things when we are done with this video, you know exactly what you need to know and you are in a good place. But here we go, let's get started. The first question, which at this point you should know by now, the question is, what is science? Well, science is a body of knowledge based on the study of nature. The nature or essential characteristics of science is scientific inquiry. And scientific inquiry is both a creative process and a process rooted in unbiased observations and experimentation. So scientific inquiry is thinking and creating and figuring things out by observing and experimenting. So it's a process of how we figure things out about the natural world. When we are trying to think about science we have what's called a theory and what's called a law. Well, a theory is an explanation of a natural phenomenon supported by many observations and experiments over time. So you've seen it happen, you've experimented. Once you have all of this evidence, that's a theory. A scientific law describes relationships under certain conditions in nature, but it does not explain why the relationship is the way it is. Now, theories do not become laws, and laws do not become theories. Those are two completely different things, and make sure you understand the difference. So, science makes observations and draws conclusions. That's something you do when you're trying to figure things out about the natural world. Scientists are going to choose subjects to study and decide what types of data to collect. Then they're going to analyze that data that they have collected and begin to draw conclusions. And they use the data, they use the facts to figure out what's going on. They don't make assumptions. Science also expands our knowledge. Scientific explanations combine what is already known with evidence from additional observations and experiments. It's going to be driven by the search for new knowledge, and it's going to constantly reevaluate what is known. Now, pseudoscience basically means fake science, like it's not real science. Now, it's going to imitate science, but this is more driven by cultural goals or commercial goals. New questions and additional research are not welcomed. They say what they say it is, and that's it. So basically, pseudoscience is not based on facts. It's not real science. Now, science also challenges accepted theories. Scientists welcome debate about one another's ideas. Sciences are going to advance by accommodating new information as it's discovered. Things don't stay the same all the time. If you discover new facts, those are the facts. That's what it is. So science is constantly changing when new information arises because it is factually based. Science is also going to question results. In science, observations or data that are not consistent with scientific understanding are of interest. Now, these inconsistencies often lead to further investigations. So, if something comes up and it is questioned, they're going to look into why it is the way it is. They want to understand what's going on. Now, in pseudoscience, inconsistencies are discarded and ignored. So they don't even care. They're just going to stick with what they say is the facts. Science also tests claims. Scientists use standard experimental procedures. Their claims are based on a large amount of data and observations that have been obtained from unbiased investigations and carefully controlled experimentation. Again, they've done experiments, they've observed what's going on, they've collected data, and all of the facts are based on these observations and data, things that actually happened. Pseudoscientists make claims that actually can't be tested, or they're a mixture of factual things with opinions, and they oftentimes let the opinions be the deciding factor. So that's why pseudoscience, again, it's not real science. Science undergoes peer review. Uh, what that means is before it's made public, science based information is reviewed by scientists' peers. So, a peer review is a process by which the procedures used during an experiment and the results are evaluated by other scientists who are in the same field or who are conducting similar research. If multiple people take a look at it and multiple people do the experiment and multiple people get the same data, it's more likely to be determined as factual. Science is in everyone's everyday life, no matter what is going on right now. If you are looking at your electronic device, science is happening. If you are outside, science is all around you. If you are literally sitting here doing nothing, science is happening. Your body, your existence is science. So science is everywhere. So because of this, it's important to have a little bit of science literacy. So a person who is scientifically literate combines a basic understanding of science and its processes with reasoning and thinking skills. It's important to be ethical. Ethics is a set of moral principles or values. You want to be truthful, you want to be honest. Um, so ethics are very important in scientific literacy. And that wraps up chapter 1, section 2 for today. If you guys have any questions about this information, please go back, watch the video, pause it, read the slides, or send me an email, ask me questions, or pop into our Zoom meetings on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Um, you are soon going to have your discussion board based on this information, and then you will also have a quiz at the end of the week based on this information.